Okay, so why advertisers are interested in incrementality? It's because they are investing a lot of money from their budgets into buying where the advertising is going to be shown to the audiences. So, and that has to be distributed across an increasingly bigger number of media. So if you think about how things were done 20 years ago, you had TV, print, a little bit of display advertising and radio, and that was it, and outdoor, that was it. Today that has phenomenally changed. You have every month new media opportunities for the advertisers to play their investments. So that makes for them very difficult to optimize how this money is spent, even if they have the support from the media agencies, which are in fact in the same problem. Where do you put the money to buy the frequency that you need, and that's another question, to the maximum possible reach? So the only way to answer to those questions is answering to the incrementality, to total net reach and incrementality questions. And that's where Fluzo is contributing to the industry. So Fluzo is an independent provider that has a tested methodology and a tested technology capable to measure this kind of metrics across nearly all media, and to help advertisers to answer and to understand which media is actually providing them with the right, or which combinations of media, better said, are contributing to their campaigns in an effective way. So it's crucial for them. They're spending millions, sometimes tens of millions, and they have inefficient tools to decide on how that money is spent. Yeah, so Fluzo actually operates in 13 countries. This is another key thing. The same technology. We integrate our ACR technology, which is designed and created by us and specially optimized to measure advertising and content. We integrate that into our panel partner companies. So one of the things Fluzo does differently is that we don't own our panels. We work with best-of-breed companies on every country that ensure that we have top quality and stability on the panels. So once our technology is deployed in a new country, and we are looking into a few more in this year, we will start collecting highly secured, privacy-first fingerprints through the microphone of the members of the panel, and we are capable to understand if the creativities of the campaign of the advertiser that wants to be measured are included into that panel, and more important, or as important, we can measure on which media they have been exposed. So that lets us to provide observational level data about duplication between media and, for hence, incrementality. It's observational based incrementality. It's fantastic. So when you think about what one advertiser needs to use this data with some comfort, because at the end, we are going to produce data that's going to orient the advertiser, or sometimes make the advertiser decide how they are going to invest big amounts of money with a big impact both in the brand and on the sales of that advertiser, okay? So the advertiser needs a few things. It needs to understand and trust the methodology. It has to be transparent enough for them to understand how things are produced. It has to be structured even at deliverable in the deliverables in a way that they can use the data to make decision making. So all those elements are key. You have a panel that has to be understandable. You have to understand how the methodology works. We must be transparent on how things and what things we do and what things we don't do, setting the right expectations. Sometimes we have to say to the advertiser, no, we don't measure this. It's a good way to say, but that one thing we do, right? So it's also understanding when the advertiser has to work with Fluzo as a measurement company. And that's where we produce. We try to provide elements that enable the advertisers to take trustworthy decisions. Well, actually, it's not for the UK market. The funny thing is that we are not producing something for a country. It happens that Fluzo does the same thing everywhere. So for UK-based advertisers, of course, that means that with a lot of simplicity and without technical integrations and with total independence with the media companies where the advertiser campaigns are going to run, we can provide the data. So we can provide incrementality, we have tools, we can evolve through the tools, but important is that we are capable to describe how the campaign has performed in terms of reach curves, frequency, incrementality, exclusive audiences, if the advertiser is willing to share the expenditures, what's more efficient in economic terms. Also, because we can survey the people of the campaign, post-campaign, we can tell how those exposures are changing the outcomes. We talk a lot about outcomes in the industry in UK, especially in UK. And so we can say if the media mix and the frequency, and then which media mix and which frequencies being more impactful on the campaign results, which is key for the advertiser, because everybody says, historically, when you do branding, you need to do 3, and when you do direct response, you do 3, and when you do branding, you do 5, but actually that's the truth. If you go into the data, you realize that it depends a lot on the campaign, the content, on the environment, on the media mix. And that's one question we answer. And it's not for the UK. If you are a huge global advertiser that needs to have something uniform across countries, because you cannot afford having a different measurement everywhere, this is one of the propositions we have. So we answer to the needs of the UK advertisers when they do advertising across Europe.